Hey guys, this is Cosmic. Just wanted to bring another T16 guide for the Barbarian for season 36 specifically. These builds are going to be tailored for the soul shards. This first one I'm going to go over is not something I would try outside of soul shards. There's one specific soul shard that enables this, and outside of that, it's not really an accessible build to play for T16. Um, so for the purpose of showing this, I'm doing a unaugmented build here. I do have one augment, so I suppose I'm not completely unaugmented, but overall, really scuffed gear. We have a suboptimal neck, no crit chance there, just random gear. This is kind of to go along with the idea of the Immortal King set coming from the Hadrig's Gift this season. So my apologies for not making a guide sooner. I'd actually kind of forgotten that this was really good in Soul Shards. So I have a suboptimal shoulder without Furious Charge damage. Quad gloves don't necessarily need area damage. Cooldown is fine in this build, although you don't technically need it, and I'll discuss why in a little bit. Cooldown just happens to be on my gear from rolling my other builds, so ignore the massive amount of cooldown in this build. You can actually run it with 0. So that allows for better damage stats. If you augment the build, you're obviously going to gain some efficiency. So the build is enabled by this Essence of Anguish. The ability here is going to be when you kill an enemy, you deal the damage done by the death blow to all enemies within 25 yards. What this does is it allows you to spread the big damage that you do to one enemy when you hit them to multiple enemies, so it expands the AoE of the charge attack. So the final effect in this Essence of Anguish, increasing movement speed, synergizes with this standoff. So we want to increase movement speed whenever we can, because we're going to gain 500% increased damage. 500% of your bonus movement speed. So I checked the sheet and it looks like we hit around 225% bonus movement speed with this build, which previously with Furious Charge we were never really able to hit those numbers. So part of this is we're going to go the Rachel's Ring of Larceny, and in order to proc that, we're going to go with Threatening Shout Terrify. That's going to make sure to fear enemies. You could wear the Rachel's Ring of Larceny to get more chance on hit to fear, but this is going to proc the Rachel's Ring reliably. Honestly, going without the Vile Ward and going like Chelonics and then getting rid of this isn't really worth it. Even if you roll a ton of fear on hit on your gear like the helm and the ring, I just don't find that to be worth it. So you could try that if you want to, but personally this is how I recommend running it. The Vile Ward is going to increase the damage for every enemy hit while charging, and again, that damage is going to be spread around with the death blow. For the Helm Shard, we have the extra movement speed ability there at the bottom. So as long as we're moving through enemies, we'll be getting that movement speed buff. If you don't pass through enemies periodically and you're just charging from pack to pack, if you don't do like any amount of running through, you won't really benefit from that much. So you could go with the Sliver of Terror, but I'd rather get this extra multiplier here from the movement speed and also be zooming that much faster. So we have squirts. We don't really have too much of a way to protect squirts in this build, but we bounce around killing enemies so fast that squirts is just kind of up. It's not up all the time. How do we keep up Wrath of Berserker and Call of the Ancients? That is built into the Immortal King set. So when we spend Fury, you're going to reset those two skills. So because of that, we need no cooldown, because all we've got to do is pump Maximum Fury and Paragon, and then hopefully we would have Maximum Fury here and Maximum Fury here, so that we have as big of a dump as possible. And you can opt for running Boulder Toss, and then Seismic Slam, I believe, is a good option as well. I think the animation for Seismic Slam is slightly faster, so we'll demonstrate it with that. We want movement speed from health globes here. We want movement speed from sprint. And overall, we can't really fit too much other movement speed in the build. We do get movement speed from Wrath of Berserker. We don't need Boon of Bolkathos passive because the Immortal King set has taken care of that for us. We've got Wreath of Lightning for even more movement speed. An ideal ring here would be like crit flat. I'm wearing the Ring of Royal Grandeur because I don't really have a better one. So you can take a lot more damage stats on this build. Crit flat here, crit flat here. We don't need cooldown here, so like 10% damage there would be good. Elite damage could be good over strength if you're higher Paragon, otherwise you keep the strength. You don't really need poison damage because you're killing enemies so quickly that you're going to proc the poison effect from the death blows, which deal poison damage. Yeah, overall this is easy to slap together. You just get 3 pieces of the Raekor set and then the 6 pieces of the Immortal King set, which you'll get from the Hadrig's Gift. We go Band of Might here for sure because we don't have other ways to be tanky. This is pretty much it, other than the tankiness from Mordek's Brace with Wrath Berserker, and then of course Call the Ancients with together as one. One final note here is this is extremely easy to gear. The Soul Shard, you basically pick an element, fire, lightning, physical, or cold, and then match that element to your bracer, and simply select whatever element you have. Cold, fire, lightning, physical, because Fierce Charge gains the effect of all runes because of the 4-piece of the Raekor set. So that's giving us 1,000% increased damage to charge. It's going to refund a charge if we hit one enemy. That's good for the boss in case you need to hit them a few times, maybe 3 times or so. And then we're gaining every effective charge, which allows you to select any rune you want based on the element. So overall, very easy to slap together. Final note, we have Boon of the Hoarder for even more movement speed. I haven't leveled this all the way, so ignore that. You want to level that all the way to 50. Bane of the Trapped is the best choice here. We don't have another move speed gem, so Bane of the Trapped might as well just grab some free damage. If we were fully augmented and geared out, we could go with Gogok for a little bit more attack speed, which increases the speed of the animation of Furious Charge, which can help with mobility. So let's go ahead and open up a key here. And right off the bat, we're going to just spam those skills there, and we just start charging through. So notice when we charge, we're going to boom, boom, boom. Charging around, hit the elites. And now that we have our full buff here, go ahead and hit Seismic Slam, and we reset all the buffs. So just charging around. I'm playing pretty sloppy here, so just to kind of demonstrate that you don't really need to play super carefully or anything. And then once the Wrath Berserker and Call the Ancients are about to fall off, we just tap Seismic Slam, or you can run Boulder Toss. They both dump Fury. I believe the animation for Seismic Slam is just a little bit faster. So we charge the boss there, and then he's gone. So I'm going to just do one more demonstration of this build, just to kind of make sure that you're seeing a decent... If you get to be a little bit higher Paragon, you can go ahead and augment this build and then take it into Visions. I don't recommend running Visions early on with this, though. It's kind of a T16 build for Nephilim Rifts. So just charging along, and that death blow is spreading around the effect. And again, a huge part of this is normally we don't have enough damage in this build to really do T16 efficiently because you just don't have enough movement speed to ramp up the effect of the Fierce Charge here. So the standoff doesn't quite give enough of a multiplier outside of this season for this to work. Again, this is a slap together build. I'm very unoptimized. I'm missing tons of damage rolls, so we're not just straight up one-shotting everything perfectly, but it's doing a great job of carrying the Rift, and we just cleared that one in about a minute. So if you optimize your gear and take more damage stats on your gear, you're going to get much better results with this. I just wanted to show a really unoptimized variant of this. I just slapped this together in about 10 minutes and wanted to make a guide for that. So let's go ahead and move on to the other T16 build. This is one that requires a little bit more optimized gear, and this is a nod to the guide that I made for last season. So this one doesn't quite need as much in terms of the movement speed stuff. You're already really fast. You don't really need much help with that, but I think I'm going to go ahead and throw in Boon of the Hoarder instead of the Bane of the Powerful. I don't really think that I need that anymore. So to overview this, this is pretty much a copy paste from the last build from last season. This is the Might of the Earth set with tons of cooldown. You've got the Crimson set. You've got the Mordek's Brace. I'm going to run the physical variant with Cave-In. You've got Squirts. Again, not an optimal Squirts necklace. We're using the same shard here and the same shard here. Physical, Deathblow, and then Mark of Destruction with movement speed. Overall, fairly easy to gear. We have Ring of Royal Grandeur. Normally we can wear the Ring of Larceny for extra Fear on Hit. In this case, we are actually relying on Fear on Hit stat instead of the Terrify rune. So the Grim Harvest is going to give us our health globes, which is going to create a shield. I'm running the Gold Wrap variant, so that means that we don't actually need Band of Might. We can run Stone of Jordan, but I'm just running Band of Might just because I have a good one. NGM Echoing Fury is a huge source of mobility here. However, we're not quite as dependent on NGM as normally because we have this Reaver effect that comes from the Helm gem. Best gems here are definitely Gogok of Swiftness, Trapped, and Boon of the Hoarder. Again, this is a build for T16, Nephilim Rifts. There's other variants for GRs. So, quick review. Dreadnought is really good for just making sure that you have tons of charges, as opposed to going with Merciless Assault. If you lack cooldown rolls, you could go with Merciless Assault, and in that case, if you don't encounter an elite within a few seconds, then this will help you get to that point. The Cave-In rune pulls enemies together, which makes sure that NGO procs are more reliable because they do still help the build. We're just not relying on them quite as much here. Marathon is a really good option when we have the Gold Wrap because we want reliable movement speed as opposed to the Ignore Pain Bravado, which is the same amount of movement speed, but it's a little bit more of a tough cooldown to keep up. So let's go ahead and open up a key here and get going. So to start out, I'm going to charge ahead. Here we go. And then we're going to go ahead and tap Earthquake, and then now we have Ingeom, and we're charging along very fast. And this one has a little bit more AoE than the charge build actually, and it does have more damage. So once you get kind of rocking and rolling on Barb with the Immortal King charge build, you can go ahead and transition to this, and it's going to be a little bit more efficient once you get going. The Death Blow spreads around that already really good AoE and damage even more, and we have tons of mobility here. So as you can see, that was a little bit faster of a run. So this is what I would recommend transitioning into. Of course, with Whirlwind is a nice lazy build, so if you want to build that, I would just say run the normal build, but use Deathblow. Same idea here, same exact idea here. Run the normal Whirlwind build, and the only difference is that you pick up a movement speed skill, such as Sprint, IP Bravado, Warcry with Chalonix Chain, anything like that, instead of needing to run Rend on the bar, because normally Rend Bloodbath is the AoE that allows you to clear T16 quickly. With the Deathblow, you no longer need that, so that's the only modification I would recommend for the Whirlwind T16 build. Just run the normal build with these 2 soul shards exactly as I have them here, and then just take Rend off the bar and add another movement speed skill. Hope this helps you guys out, and enjoy your season. Get blasting on Barb and get some keys and lots of amazing loot to push the Barb builds, which are amazing this season. I kind of got started here. We got rank 1 on a very scuffed Hoda build, which I got the gear for by running these builds. So best of luck, guys, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.